governance as a pillar for national development. The theme of this Governors Symposium, Climate Change and Small Island States, a call for strategic action, has been chosen because I believe that we are running out of time to implement effective climate change governance measures. On December 12, 2015, the global community, to significantly reduce risks and impacts of climate change, signed the Paris Climate Accord. The accord aimed at keeping the increase in global average temperatures to well below 2 degrees Celsius, and to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase even further. The realization of the objectives of that accord is especially important for vulnerable small island states like ours. Ladies and gentlemen, as a small island Caribbean state with a one-pillar tourism economy, St. Martin is, in general, susceptible to the impact of global events and developments over which we have no control. In that regard, climate change, in terms of its causes, its effects, and the responses, presents a major governance challenge. Whereas our contribution to the cause of climate change is not significant, we are amongst the most vulnerable to the threat and effects of climate change. The World Travel and Tourism Council predicts that the Caribbean will become the most at-risk tourist destination in the world between 2025 and 2050. I believe that we already are. In 2015, the UNESCO science report observed that the region would be hard-pressed to deal with a major meteorological disaster and urged it to take climate change adaptation more seriously. To illustrate, I have selected 3 St. Martin examples as reasons why we should take adaptation more seriously. First, in the context of climate change, we have already experienced dry weather periods resulting in significant drought. In that regard, I wish to remind those of you of the drying up of the Great Salt Pond in 2015. Second, I need not remind you of the devastation caused throughout the region by the severity of 2 unprecedented Category 5 hurricanes, Irma and Maria, in the span of 2 weeks in September 2017. The disruption of and impact on the lives of our people is significant. The damage on St. Martin is estimated at about $2.1 billion, almost twice the level of our pre-Irma GDP. And third, there is a prediction published by the Nature Foundation in 2014, which shows what St. Martin would look like 20 to 50 years from now. Regrettably, it's not shown on your screen. However, think along with me. Namely, it shows that if the rise of sea level continues, our capital, Philipsburg, several of our highly populated low-lying areas, our tourist area, Simpson Bay, our economic gateways, the airport and the harbor facilities, Marigold, and Sandy Ground, as well as all of our beaches, will have disappeared on the water. And the lowlands would become a separate island. Imagine. In short, climate change poses an existential threat to St. Martin. Having faced two severe, unprecedented climate events, Irma and Maria, in the span of 2 weeks, and considering the outlook for sea level rise, the questions now are, when and how bad will the next event be? What must we do to mitigate or address the effects of the threat of climate change? And do we have the time needed to effect the required change?
Saturday, June 16th, 2018. Bingo drive back again. Tell your family and friends. 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Community Center in Bel Air. $10 you have to pay in order to win. So come down to Wally, have a tongue. Bingo drive, it's going to be fun. Bingo, 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 bingo. Airline tickets, hotel stays, that's not all. Sorts of goodies to be won. Bingo, 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 bingo. Yes, folks, the Lions Pre-Fathers Day Bingo is on this coming Saturday, June 16th at the Bel Air Community Center in Cahill. We will also be raffling the car at the same night at the bingo drive. So come out, folks, and have fun and win a car at the same time. Anybody bingo? Nobody bingo.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
1, 2, 3.
SXM, connecting you.
September 6, 2017, a day that changed our daily routines, the day that changed the way of thinking, and the day that will remain in our minds forever. Hurricanes Irma and Maria devastated St. Martin, causing destruction to infrastructure, homes and buildings, the economy, telecommunications and utilities, and ultimately devastation to the overall well-being of St. Martin. Today, however, we remain hopeful and on the path of recovery and reconstruction. The buzzword for the recovery process, building back better, means more resilient communities for all. This principle serves as the beacon for the government of St. Martin in safeguarding sustainable development. But how will St. Martin fare being exposed to vulnerabilities and casualties of climate change? St. Martin, as in the case of other small island states, are on the front line of climate change and thus not immune to limited capacity and resources, economic vulnerability due to impulsive international developments, and finally, natural disasters. This phenomenon undeniably poses a serious threat to our safety, economy, environment, and ultimately the well-being of our citizens. As a government, therefore, it behooves us to continuously revisit our disaster management blueprints and socio-economic development on the whole to ensure that all efforts are being employed to mitigate the effects of natural disasters, including those that are triggered by climate change. St. Martin has acknowledged the consequences of climate change and has listed it high on its agenda. In this light, the government is addressing these obvious effects through the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, these Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, the revision of disaster management, and national security. In this respect, climate change is being approached from several angles. To elucidate further, as part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, St. Martin adopted the 2030 SDG agenda. For St. Martin, this entails setting clear development priorities and thereby linking relevant projects to the SDGs where we actually seek to empower lives. Together with the United Nations ECLAC Commission, an implementation strategy for the SDGs will be drafted soon. On the other hand, the Small Island Development States, SIDS, also serves as a way to address climate change. The Samoa Pathway acknowledges the effects of climate change on SIDS. And through the 11th EDF Regional Program of the Caribbean, St. Martin sits in the role of Regional Authorizing Officer and thereby at the helm of a program to protect marine biodiversity, support energy, and build resilience in the region. Climate-related disasters will continue to affect St. Martin, and we must be proactive in our approach through adaptation and by effecting change, especially at the leadership levels. As Prime Minister, Minister of General Affairs, with the responsibility of disaster management for our nation, I am committed, therefore, to working diligently with our partners to ensure that technical cooperation and support are accessible from a national, kingdom, regional, and international level to promote the exchange and transfer of knowledge on environmental problems and solutions, and to foster environmental responsiveness for sustainable development. Furthermore, the involvement of civil society through information awareness platforms is key in the fight against climate change. Specifically, the changes in the biosphere resulting from human and natural activities and the effects of these changes on the environment. UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres said, and I quote, "Climate change is a direct threat in itself and a multiplier of many other threats. From poverty to displacement to conflict, the effects of climate change are already being felt around the world. They are dangerous and accelerating," unquote. We must therefore act now.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 Fun Mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of Fun Miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free Fun Miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles, fun within your reach.
Tell them, connecting you.
I'd like to thank the Minister for the presentation made. Listening to the questions that came from the floor, initially I didn't feel it need in the first section or round to ask the questions because I thought they'd been asked, but especially seeing the responses that were given, I would still like, and maybe it is something that we have to decide as Parliament, Madam Chair, in terms of how laws and or amendments are presented, that we get a presentation, not only because, yes, you've received the documents, you can read, you can research, but the general public is following these deliberations. And they should be able to, from the presentation, get a better gist of what this law is, the importance of having it, highlight some of the amendments specifically. I don't know whether in presentation or be a little more specific, and what effect it would have on the population and or the civil servants if it's only going to affect them. So, as well as all others who have dealings with government. So my questions would be to strengthen the questions that were asked before, reiterate how it will improve the functioning of government right now and the cooperation between Curaçao and St. Martin, seeing as it is a joint court that we have.
Have a little more information and maybe some clarification that I would like. Basically, one of my questions was also regarding the representation costs of citizens that would like to make use of this court. Now, I know in some cases, I guess typically it's common in criminal court that if someone is unable to afford a lawyer, then they're able to get one financed, and we know of the issues with the pro bono lawyers. That's I guess another meeting for another day. But does this also apply to representation in the administrative courts? Do we have perhaps any statistics as to how much government has supported individuals in this need? Because I do know, I think having the small claims court in particular will help a lot of our average citizens. I do look forward. I've been hearing about this for quite some years, and I do hope that Parliament, together with government, can make this a reality as soon as possible. But with regards to the existing structure of the administrative court, I think it's also important that this body is, if there's representation costs possible, that our citizens are aware of this. So this might be a opportunity to say this, because one of the key factors that the average person, I think, refrains from making use of many court systems is the financial element. It's simply because, I have an issue that I need, that I deserve or believe needs to be addressed. It's an administrative issue. It's a tax issue. But a lot of them turn out to just bite the bullet because they simply cannot afford to say, no, you know what, I disagree with this decision from government or from the tax department, but I cannot afford a lawyer, so you know what, I have to just go ahead and pay this even though I believe that I'm in the right. So I would really like to know with regards to what support, perhaps representation costs is one, but also in terms of public relations and informing the public of their rights in using this court. Another question. Thank you very much, by the way, for the statistics. Very interesting, the number of cases. Happy to hear there's no backlog. But a follow-up to that, how many of those cases did government lose? I'm curious about if there's any statistics as to how often government finds itself on the losing side of the stick when it comes to cases administratively against government. We, of course, can imagine that this has significant cost to the country, so would like to know if to follow up with that, perhaps in your meeting today, that's something that you can bring up as well. Regarding the budget, if you can clarify, I believe the 4.5 million or the amount that you mentioned for the budget for the courts. What I would like to know is the budget for legal costs. So not from the court itself, but let's say government needs to hire a law firm to represent itself in these courts. What is the budget for that side of it? So what are the costs that government has or the budget government has? And then to follow up to that, has government found itself exceeding this budget because there is a growing number or a high number of cases or complex cases where government's legal fees are increasing? So those are really some of the points I needed some clarification on, Madam Chair. The final thing, just I guess as a point that has been brought to my attention is that I spoke to some lawyers recently in researching the administrative court, and one of the things that they did bring up to me is the complexity of these cases. And in some cases, there are many lawyers who feel like, to put frank, if there isn't a financial measure for them, that they kind of refrain or recommend their clients not to use this court. So I would like to know if the minister can let us know about the complexity of the court itself. Do these amendments lessen the complexity of our administrative court system to the benefit of our citizens?
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
can always come back at another time to give a general presentation about the legislation. That's one possibility. Or two is before the public meeting on it, I can also do it as well, so that it could just be a hammer stroke and pretty much move forward. It's important that we are just as efficient with our time as well, and making sure that the information is communicated. And I believe, yes, a public relations campaign should go on, but it usually goes on and is synchronized with once the law is passed, and then we move forward with it. So you don't do a public relations before, but you do it after, but it would definitely be something that would be considered. The number of cases that the government has lost is not available to us right now because many of the cases are also pending, but we can try to get an account and provide you with that in writing at a later date. I don't have that information right now. As far as the legal assistance and people being somewhat intimidated to seek legal assistance, the thing is that government provides legal assistance in general. They provide medical assistance, they provide financial assistance, as well as legal assistance, and government has a time frame, I believe, of 2 weeks to reply once the request has been submitted. As former Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, we are well aware, and we've been doing it for quite some time. The Minister of Justice also signs off on it. So from this end, I also know that that happens. The budget back then was about $250,000, and we are still within that range, but we're looking to increase it to $500,000. The issue with the pro bono cases, even though it's another meeting that you may or may not request, according to the law, there are certain set amounts, and in negotiations with the former ministers of justice, two of them actually, Minister Kidindongo and Minister Boseman, it was agreed to increase the amount. However, the law was not changed, so there's no real legal basis for it, and it's because of a promise that two ministers made that they have requested that they maintain that price.